My name is Abdullah Suji. I'm the moderator of this session. I'm quite inspired by what I've read and my personal interaction with the gentleman, Hashir Zubairi, and I've also introduced him and worked with him on a talk program on Channel Islam International, and I found it to be very interesting. He is doing the nurturing your child the right way, and it's part of Unity's integrated model. Ashir comes with a range of experience, and I think one should appreciate it as the fact that we are all involved in education. So he's an educationist, an analyst, and a mentor. He's the co-founder of Chief Executive of Unity International School in Islamabad, Pakistan, which has grown over the past decade to nearly 400 students and is built on Unity's integrated learning model. For a total human development, Hashir also serves on the board of Reflection Schools in Karachi and is a board member of the Director of Compliance for Himat Pakistan. He holds degrees in economics and computer science from Brandeis University, speaks 6 languages, subhanallah. You know, that's a sign of a genius, eh? And previously worked in the tech leadership roles with Amazon, Oracle, Primus, Ultimus, and Fidus Technologies. His research interests include character development, child psychology, language development, and community building. Today he'll present Unity's integrated learning model, a comprehensive solution for Talim and Tarbiyah in the contemporary world. I give you today Hashir Zuhairi, and the start time will be now, inshallah. We'll be saving a maximum of 7 minutes at the end for Q&A. Hashir, the floor is yours.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu salamu ala rasulillah. قال الله عز وجل بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون وقال تعالى وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام الناس معادن كمعادن الذهب والفضة خيارهم في الجاهلية خيارهم في الإسلام إذا فقهوا وقال إن هذا الخير خزائن ولتلك الخزائن مفاتيح فطوبى لعبد جعل الله مفتاحا للخير مغلاقا للشر أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. So my dear audience, Jazakumullahu khairan for coming, and what is the purpose of today's session is to present a general overview and a comprehensive insight into Unity's model that we've been working on and developing for the past about 18 years. 11 years of the school operating and about 7 years of research before that. And we felt that بالتحديث بالنعمة that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to take it to a point where we should offer it to all our colleagues around the world to learn from it, acquire it, build on it, and form alliances and partnerships so that we can further do the work for which we have committed ourselves. So what will we be achieving by the end of this session? Well, first of all, you will be able to analyze our modules, and especially the creator's creation, and integrate the prophetic model into contemporary curricula. So we speak about the prophetic model, but alhamdulillah, until and unless we have it running and visible, that's when we can actually implement it in other places as well. And you'll be able to develop your team into a winner, able to succeed with our model anywhere in the world. But most importantly, you'll be able to forge connections and create a global alliance that can further enhance this paradigm, create more resources, and develop impactful solutions for the Ummah's education, which is what GIS is all about. So I'd like to start with a question. Why are we here? Why did we spend so much money? We left our families. We left our countries. What are we doing here? Why are we here? Wajhul amal. Why? Which is the basis of intention, niyyah. Why are we here?
Multiple intentions.
Yes.
Allah many things.
MashaAllah.
So we can connect with our brothers and sisters around the world.
MashaAllah.
And learn from them with ideas and practices.
MashaAllah. Yes, Abdurrahman. We're here for our children. Yes. MashaAllah. So, yes, go ahead. Right. All of these are beautiful answers. And this is what tajdeed is all about. We start with tajdeed of our niyyah. Tajdeed starts with the tajdeed of the niyyah. And tajdeed of the niyyah is to make tawbah, to turn back to Allah. We might have started several years ago with this passion, this burning desire. What will become of our children? What will become of the children of the ummah? And we worked hard. We stayed awake all night. We faced failures. We faced rejection. We faced criticism from society, from parents, from government agencies. But we didn't give up. What was driving us? Sometimes that spark needs to be rekindled. It needs to be re-enlightened, reignited. That driving force, that we want nothing, we want Allah. We want nothing. We're not doing it for the money. We're not doing it for fame. May Allah protect us, that people would know who this person is. And their name would be called out, oh yeah, he's an expert in education. No, we're doing it for Allah. Let's revive, the first thing about tajdeed, revive your intentions. And then revive your iman. Revive your iman. How do we revive our iman? Jaddidu imanakum. Kaifa nujaddidu imanana ya Rasulullah. How do we revive our iman, ya Rasulullah? How do we do tajdeed of our iman? Akthiru min qawli la ilaha illallah. So I would like everyone to say, La ilaha illallah. This is the renewal of iman. So the renewal of intention, the renewal of iman. That's where we start. And why are we here? We are here for our children. Not only our biological children, the children of the ummah who we have been serving for years and we will continue to serve until our last breath. Inshallah, we all make that intention, right? So what do we want for our children? What do we want for our children? In the interest of time, I'd love to have the floor open for every single slide, but there's a lot of ground we'll be covering. I'll probably be stumbling over a lot of things because I like to passionately share everything, and then I get stuck in maybe speaking too much. So I'd beg your forgiveness, and Brother Abdullah Suji is going to make sure that I do not do that. That's his job, right? So what do we want for our children? Let's have a couple of answers. Okay. Protect them from dangers over which we have no control. What else?
We want our children to succeed here and hereafter.
We want them to succeed here and hereafter, exactly. Tarbiyah for our children. Nurturing them, yes. We want them to become decision makers. Awesome. Prepare them for life. Beautiful answers. So, we believe that each child is unique, right? And every child deserves a holistic education, okay? Well balanced, with real world connections, and allowing them to mature. We're committed to raising both conscious and conscientious Muslims. And to prepare individuals who willingly submit to their Creator and accept the responsibility to bring positive change. This is what we stand for. Every single Muslim child, bring positive change, make the world a better place, a little better than what it was before they came in the world. If every Muslim just makes the world a little better and accepts that responsibility, connects with their Creator to make the world a better place, fulfill rights and responsibilities. There's a lot to it, obviously. So the education they deserve has to be hands-on, has to have real-world connections, it has to be balanced, it has to be holistic, it has to cater to their needs, not to ours. We're gardeners, not carpenters. हम बागबान हैं, तरखान नहीं हैं. What's the difference? The gardener doesn't grow. Just nurtures. Allah lets it grow, right? And the carpenter cuts, breaks, grinds, right, and crafts something that is in his mind. Those who want their children to become something which they have conceived. أَوْلَادُكُمْ لَيْسُوا لَكُمْ, as Khalil Gibran says. Your children are not yours. They belong to another era. They are the arrow that has left the bow. Now, whatever direction you gave it, that's the one they will travel. But you cannot control. So become control freaks. Let's become gardeners, not carpenters. So instead, we end up with this. And apologies to any British citizens over here. I'm sorry, this is not. It's just that the Union Jack represents everything that's wrong with the world, in my opinion. So, we're still in a post-colonial hangover. And what do we end up doing with Islamic schools? It's just a veneer. It's a wallpaper over a British colonial curriculum. That's most of us sitting over here. What I'm seeing right now over here is people from former British colonies, right? That's why we're speaking in English. Okay, and what do we have? We have some ritual Islamic practices. So a very soulless sort of approach that, let's just make it halal, kosher, so just let's remove some of the haram things and have them make du'as and wear hijab and topis, and that's about it. That's Islam. No. From the ground up, we have to tear it down and build it up again, as Sheikh Abdullah also spoke, and Dr. Nadeem also spoke in one of his talks. So, but the thing is, at the same time, we be critical, but we don't reject everything as long as it's in accordance with and within the permissibility of deen. Then we do acquire it and we do benefit from it. So it's not something that's very. It's not something that we completely divorce ourselves with, but critically look at it and see if it's compliant with our deen, then we will utilize it. So, what do we need? We need a solution that is a transcendental model, that transcends time. It should be able to adapt with time, but remain rooted and grounded in revelation. It should not be limited to a certain geographical area or national requirements. It should be grounded in real-world connections. It should be based on fitrah. It should be agnostic yet accommodating to the geographical and national requirements. It should be liberated from textbooks and teach through the test, exam schooling. As Mark Twain said, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. Right. So we're not here for schooling. We're here for education. And education, the correct translation into Arabic or Urdu of education is not ta'lim, it's tarbiyah. The root word, the Latin root word for education is educare. Educare means to nurture, to grow, to develop, to raise through its stages to a point of completion, which is exactly what tarbiyah means. So now the thing is that there are a lot of components to any model. And we'd be speaking until the cows come home if we go into all of these. So just visually, I'm going to allow you to absorb some of those components because we speak about this corpus of ta'lim and tarbiyah, but we are not cognizant of what are the organs that make it work. We know there's a foundation, and that foundation is iman, it's ikhlas, it's fitra, it's sunnah, it's Quran, it's adab, it's taqwa, it's tashakhus, right? Identity, all of that. Yes, that's why we're all here. That's the platform we come together on. None of us disagree with that. That's not the point that I'm trying to make here. The point is what do you build on top of it? We can speak about the foundation, but then how do you make it work? So these are some of the organs, the building blocks of Unity's model. And in these organs, of course, like in your body, the heart and the brain, they have their roles. Would you, both metaphorically and logically, what would you think among these would be the heart and what would be the brain? Planning and preparation would be the brain. Brain, yes. And the heart? Yes. See, amazing. This is see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the fitrah. So among the men, the answer came about the brain. And from the women, the answer came about the heart. Al-jinsu yamilu al-jins. Let's try. Let me make this presentation like 100 times and see whether it was random or not. If it was right, that's the scientific way of doing it, right? Okay. So, but the thing is, sorry, I'm going ahead a bit. So, at the end, what do you achieve? What are the results? I think whoever made the slide, they forgot the top because we show the results in there. Anyway, what are the results? What is the result of tarbiyah?
Living for others.
Living for others, okay. Khilafa. Success in this world and the hereafter.
Being on the right path.
Being on the right path.
Establish Allah's ahkamat in this world.
Okay. Right. Achha, now remember that tarbiyah could be of anything. And here we're speaking institutionally about tarbiyatul awlad fil Islam, Islamic tarbiyah, right? But the end result of any tarbiyah, whether it's the tarbiyah of a plant, is maturity. Maturity, that's a key word. Maturity. And in the sense of the maturity of a human being as an individual and collectively as a society, just like the cells in our body make up the entire body, as Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the ummah is like one body. So each individual comes together to make that. So the maturity of each individual leads to the maturity of your ummah, of your society, of your community. So what is maturity? Maturity is, first of all, core beliefs, core qualities, sifat, so aqaid, sifat, core values, core principles, core beliefs, qualities, values, principles. That is what makes a culture. That's what makes a society. Then skills. skills to survive, to live, to work together, skills. And then there's knowledge. And knowledge is dynamic, it changes. When we talk about knowledge, we're talking about phenomena, because the knowledge of revelation, core beliefs, values, principles, and qualities and skills come from revelation. But knowledge of the phenomena of the world around us, of the universe, this is dynamic, it changes all the time. Before they said that space is empty. Now they're saying, no, it's full of dark matter. We just don't know how it works. Every time they say something and they say, trust the science, it's a religious call. It's a radicalized religion which is so intolerant of any other epistemology or any other belief that, and it's radicalized the whole world. It's caused hatred. The main reason for all wars and destruction and genocide is this blind belief in science that is pushed down our throats, and that science changes on a daily basis. So Pluto was a planet, then it became a moon, then it became a dwarf planet, and then it just disappeared, then it came back again. So, they're going to, coffee was good for you, then it's bad for you, then it's good for you, then it's bad for you, right? It all depends on where the funding is coming from. Oh, we got the results. Okay, so yeah. So those results are part of maturity. Okay. So when we speak of skills, so unity gives you skills embedded into the tarbiyah, into the curriculum, right? What are the skills we talk about? We talk about literacy, numeracy, comprehension. This is very standard. Every school does this. Nothing, no surprises here. Then research and inquiry, right? Critical analysis, problem solving, metacognition. So what does metacognition mean? Who knows what metacognition means? Yes?
Thinking of thinking.
Wow, good, excellent, mashallah. Thinking about thinking. I know what I know. I know how to use what I know. I know what I don't know. And I know how to acquire what I don't know. That's metacognition. And that allows you to perpetually grow. Organization, expression, communication, collaboration, innovation, entrepreneurship, leadership. These we call our 14 skills, and what ties them together, the driving force, the 15th skill, is grit. I'm sure a lot of you have read or heard Dr. Angela Duckworth. She did some amazing work on that. And this is the azm that Allah wants of the prophets, alayhi salatu wasalam. Fasbir kama sabara ulil azmi min ar-rusul. Right? So the grit is that azm, that resilience, that perseverance to chase and not give up, not surrender. Always a growth mindset, always a rigorous approach, always pushing your boundaries. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. The human keeps getting better and better when they keep striving and struggling. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. It's the mujahada that takes you further. That's our legacy. That's the legacy of our predecessors that they gave us, that we gave up on. So going back to literacy, it's very important that we understand this is not just decoding textual data, because text is no longer, it's almost like we're going back towards the cavemen and visual communication, hieroglyphics, and cave drawings, So we're going back to emojis, we're going back to videos, memes. That's how people are communicating now. Oh, I don't want to read anything, just send me a video, send me a link, show it to me. So visual literacy is something very important that we have to keep up with. And digital literacy, right? So that's not something different. That's the norm now, right? Organization of your thoughts, organization of your words, of your possessions, everything. Organization allows you to build, expression builds on organization. If you can't organize your thoughts, you cannot articulate them, right? And then communication builds on expression. Communication is the other side. Empathy, being able to understand and listen. Someone who's a good orator, speaker, is not necessarily a good communicator. In fact, generally they're very poor communicators because they can't listen. So as you know, some of the mashayikh, they say that Allah gave you 2 ears and 1 tongue. So you should listen twice as much as you speak. And I should apply that to myself. So then we have collaboration, which builds on communication. And collaboration, that's the shura, that's what's going on here. And that's one of the central pillars of the work we're doing. And I'm glad that there are actual presentations here about that, about governance, about shura, about, you know, great work being done here, you know. So that's something else. Innovation, entrepreneurship, we're failing our children here. Because unless you have a culture of entrepreneurship, you will always just be producing cogs for the capitalist enterprise. There's, you know, the ability to stand on your own 2 feet, you know. Tijara is ibadah, right? Tijara is ibadah, right? The honest, trustworthy businessman will enter into Jannah with the prophets and the Siddiqeen and Shuhada and Salihin, right? Without any hisab. رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Leadership. Now, at Unity, we define leadership as the willingness and ability to take initiative. It's not about, it's service leadership, it's the prophetic model, right? It's not about political leadership or gaining clout. It's about serving, right? It's about taking ownership of an idea, a belief, a people, other than yourself. Taking ownership and serving that. That's leadership. And that makes that's how every child can be a leader. Every child cannot be a political leader. When I say political, I don't necessarily mean, you know, in politics. What I mean is a leader, a positional leader, let's just say, right? So we have these skills, and we have our core beliefs, qualities, values, and principles. Now I'd like to go ahead and, by your permission, we present our Montessori model, our preschool model. It's based on authentic Montessori, not because we have any allegiance with Maria Montessori, but because from the conventional models, what she presented is probably the closest to the fitrah and allows the most adaptability to the sunnah and towards the prophetic model of pedagogy. So therefore, and it's not very popular anymore because it's not industry-based. It's too slow for some people, right? It's allowing the child to go at their own pace. That's not good enough. That's not acceptable, right? We can't follow the child. We can't honor their sensitive periods. They're not a full human being. Yes, they are. They're born on the fitrah. They're probably the purest human being that exists in the world, right? And they come with their own egos. They come with their own beliefs. They come with their own opinions, and they want to enforce their opinions, right? They just can't manage their emotions the same way. Yesterday, you know, the fikr presentation, as they spoke as well, you know, so it's a matter of not being able to manage yourself emotionally. So in our preschool, we have themes. So, for example, my family, my clothes, myself, my school, transport, people who help us, you know, careers, etc. Wild animals, farm animals, insects, etc. So we use these bi-weekly themes. 2 weeks a theme runs. And I would be remiss if we don't speak about the soul of tarbiyah. If you would kindly go to page, everyone has handouts. Page 9, please. So the soul of tarbiyah we call 5 things. First is muhabba wa marifa. Muhabbat wa marifat for Urdu speakers, right? There's the love for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the first and the most important pillar of tarbiyah. And remember this, the soul of the body, it permeates through the whole body. It's not in a book. Your ruh is not in a book. It's not in some material. It's not even in a teacher. It's in your entire school. If your school doesn't have a ruh, it's dead. So what you need to ensure is you have a ruh. What is your ruh? How are you ensuring it? Is it permeating into every, and if your ruh is not into a certain part of your body, that part of the body is dead. It needs to be amputated and thrown away. So muhabba wa marifa. The second is tashakhus wa abdiya. Being a Muslim. Tashakhus. Identity. That, as people with Urdu or Farsi background, they know what Iqbal contributed to that and offered the Muslim an identity in this time after basically drawing the essence of Quran and Hadith into his poetry. Reverence of deen, azma wa hurma. So, revering deen is revered, deen is sacred. That sacredness of deen is very important. So, when I traveled to Turkey for the first time, that was in 2012. Okay, we spent about 4.5 months there. We were in Dawah. And what I noticed over there, which was contrary to whatever was fed to me because of Kamalism and everything, is how their children were raised. Their people, Turkish people, the reverence they would have for our dress, for our beards, for our head coverings, even if they were not able. So we were going in the streets and children would run, they're playing in the streets, right? And they'd leave their games, and they would come and they'd kiss our hands. Salam alaikum hojam, right? Because they had a reverence. You don't see that in Pakistan. Oh, Maulvi aa gaya. Right? They run the other way. Right. And our children would come in Montessori, and the first day they say, I don't want to go to school. Why? There are witches there. You can well imagine what they mean, right? In America, they call them ninjas, right? So they're witches. And those same children, after 2 weeks, they tell their mothers, Ammi, why don't you also, wear what, Miss Fala wears, what my teacher wears? She looks so nice, right? So that's what culture does. That's what the soul, the ruh of tarbiyah does, right? And then we have ittiba wa ita'a, making Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam the imam of your life. And you have ihtisab wa aqiba. Ihtisab wa aqiba, accountability and consequences. Basically, I am responsible and answerable for my words and deeds in this dunya and in akhirah. This is where emotional management comes in. This is where social responsibility and khilafah, stewardship comes in. From Montessori, yes, it starts from there. This is where taqwa comes in, right? And it's a very gradual, you want to give them Jannah, you want to give them the rewards. You don't intimidate them. That's the wrong approach. And then you have curiosity and exploration, right? So if you go to page 3, page 2. So we have our circle time as a sample. My family and home. So we base the entire circle time, the halaqah, of the Montessori children on this soul. So the love for Rasul, Allah and Rasul, so the ma'rifah of Allah and Rasul, so Rasulullah's family, what was Rasulullah's family like? Who were his daughters? Who were his wives? What was his home like, right? Then being a Muslim, what are Muslims? When we say being a Muslim, what we give to our children is basically what is a Muslim? The definition of a Muslim. When Muslims take care of their families, Muslims respect their parents and the parents of others. Muslims obey their parents, are never rude to them. All Muslims worldwide are part of a single family called the Ummah. So the Ummah is a family. So these things need to be inculcated not just through books, but through dialogue. Right? Then the sunnahs of it, etc., the du'as, So everything, resource activities. Then you will come to the web, the activity web, the learning areas web, and the activities web. So each theme, every learning area is connected to that theme, and we can go very advanced with some of this work. When you take away that industrial, that factory model, you can have your children learn a lot. So I'm not going to be going through all of this, but I'm just introducing these things so you can do that on your own time, right? And you can also visit us at our stall, and we can talk about any of these documents in further detail as you like. Okay, I'd like you to watch this video. Okay, the sound is not coming. The sound, video sound is not coming. Anyway, yes, because this is something. So we have.
Are beautiful.
We need to hear this girl what she's talking about.
Mostly they have disguises of flowers. If you put them in here, you cannot see them because they're going to be camouflaged in green places. Eat insects and they can turn their head around the whole way. Yeah. And they are beautiful. When they have their own defense mechanism and they can climb very good. These hooks allow them to just grab and hold on things so they can climb. And these are big mantises. They can defeat ants, but ants can defeat them too. So they mostly have hooks here to grab on stuff. And climb also. And it has wings. Yeah, they fly. When people are mostly scared of them, but if you think they won't bite you, and they won't bite you actually. They don't actually bite you. Now that they're close to it, they're not, they just tickle. Yeah, they do tickle, but they don't actually bite. You should pass them right. They're mostly very fast, kind of. They are.
All right, so these are first graders. You can clap if you like. Yeah, that's how they go. So moving on to, okay, we already discussed the ruh of tarbiyah. Now we just want to 10 minutes. Okay, we want to talk about the other components of our tarbiyah, right? So first of all, we already talked about the ruh. Now we can talk about, if you take the analogy of the human being. So you have a ruh and you have a'dha batina, right? You have parts of the body that are internal, the organs that you need, that no one can see, but they are necessary for life. So those are the imani qualities. For that, we have our monthly values. So for Hubbullah, Hubbur Rasul, Hajj Haramain, Birrul Walidain, As-Siha wal Afiyah, Shuja'a, courage, As-Sadaqa wal Jud, Haya, and health and well-being, that's cleanliness and hygiene, etc. So we have one value that the whole month is propagated in the culture, is integrated into the classrooms, integrated into each lesson, so that gives this constant environment for change, for transformation, right? Then we have our weekly themes. We have 2 classes of the week for the weekly themes, so that's whether that's visiting the sick, that's guarding your gaze, honoring your guests. I love to read etiquettes of eating, etiquettes of sleeping, etc., etc. We have 103 of these, which we change depending. Every year we choose which ones we do at the beginning of the year at the planning phase. So we're able to do about 35, 36 in a year. Then we have Tadrij programs. Tadrij is basically the step-by-step progressive development of one quality. So for example, if Haya is a quality, and it has to be developed from the preschool age. It's about when you go into the toilet, make sure you close the door, right? When you're changing, make sure you're alone. Things like that. And that goes further into who you can interact with, who you should not be interacting with, how you should get up. And it's not just for girls, this is for girls and boys, of course, right? And so haya is imbibed, and its complexity grows. Progressively, it grows. So we take sadaqah, for example. So in the beginning, it's just about giving something that is dear to you to others. But by the end, it's about la tubtilu sadaqatikum bil manni wal adha. Don't destroy your sadaqah with the wrong intentions. So the complexity grows. You can't give la tubtilu to first graders, right? So this tadrij is very important. Blessings of water. So we have, our children do wudu with the mud. They do wudu with the mud. They do minor projects about water conservancy. So, that sense of environmental care is developed with these tadrij programs. We have others as well, but yes. Yes, one value continues for the whole month. No. The thing is that it's reinforced. It's constantly reinforced. See, qualities cannot just be talked about, right? Honesty, you can't just talk about honesty and you have honest children. You have to model it. Okay. All right, so here, for example, our yeah, so we develop narratives and counter narratives, so that this is what Muslims are not doing. Our children need a narrative. You can't just say this is haram. You have to build it up. What's the history of Valentine's? Where did it come from? Why do people celebrate it? So when you go into it academically, they learn to reject it. They become conscientious Muslims rather than blind followers. Right, that's what every child will say. But then when the children are on fitrah, let's not disregard that. When you present the ugly side of it, they reject it. They reject it before you reject it.
Most popular are birthdays.
Right, exactly. So exactly. But our children, alhamdulillah, it works. It works. Once you actually start it, it starts working really well.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I can't see Christmas. Is that something that you don't include, or is that?
Christmas not that big in Pakistan, first of all. Valentine's is bigger, and it's there. It's there, but right. So if Muslims don't build strong narratives, every new imported holiday will hijack our deen until Eid looks like a side quest compared to Valentine's Day balloons. Okay, we need counters, and you'll find Christmas here. Okay. I have. I'll be showing on the last slide our YouTube channel, and I have videos based on all of these things. So that would be a very good resource for you. Okay, here's our value resource. We have a tarbiyah board, and it's not just decoration. So this ties up the entire value of the month. And every class, the students come, they reflect on it. They write their own reflections, share it. During the process of the month, that how this has changed them or what they're understanding. So it's art, and art is very powerful. We should never underestimate the power of art. And art is a very strong part of Islamic culture. Integration. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I can't explain integration better than this picture, right? The experience that they feel. And this is in every lesson, in every class. In our excerpts, we have a few lessons. We have a lesson in math, for example, second grade, Venn diagrams. Now, very simple that the salats that have sunnah before and salats that have sunnah after. And then when they overlap, so which ones? So the concept, so when you embed these concepts, they work so well, they go inside, right? It's another one we have, for example, a science one, where they're speaking of osmoregulation, right? 7th graders. And how وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, Allah created everything with water. So the balance of water, how necessary that is, and within our bodies, within a plant, etc. So, and how Allah maintains that balance for us. And the further they go into it, for example, if we're talking about health, then the biochemistry of prophetic diet, it goes to that level. Okay, here's our project-based learning. See, your life experiences, your culmination of life experiences is your education. The deeper and richer these experiences are, the more impactful your education is. So our children, second grade children, they grow their own wheat. They go through a cycle of wheat growing. They learn to appreciate farmers. They learn to appreciate the hard work and how a piece of bread comes on your table. They cook until they cook the roti themselves. They go through the whole process. And I mean, it's amazing. Their learning is at levels that, and it's not in exams that you see this. Okay, here we have social entrepreneurship, grade 6 and 7. Their write-ups are also in the excerpts. Make sure everyone takes their excerpts with them and studies it. So these children made their own items. They priced them. They financed their own material. And when they sold them, the money, half of it went to charity, half of it they kept themselves. So we also displayed some things on our table from the stuff that they had made. The creator's creation. I have to rush through a lot of this because I knew I'd end up doing this. This is our inquiry-based learning model. You see, question-driven learning. You do not gauge the intelligence of a person or a student by the quality of their answers. You gauge it by the quality of their questions. But we don't allow them any opportunity to question. Whereas Allah wants them to question. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْجِبَالِ يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. They ask you. Muslims ask you, non-Muslims ask you. My Nabi, please answer, please. Allah did not have to repeat the question. But He does because He wants us to ask. But we silence our children. So, inquiry-based learning, topic-based exploratory learning, empowers teachers and students, completely transdisciplinary. So for example, insan, how the human is made. This is grade 1 again. Adam alayhi salam was created by Allah. We go through that. Then their internal organs, external appendages for, if we talk about parts of the body, then inside the digestive system, the excretory system, they learn all of that in grade 1, and it's easy for them because it's fitra. And then when you eat something and you digest it, then you have to go to the bathroom and you do tahara, you do istinja, you do wudu. So it all flows. There's no distinction in the learning. Then we have experiential learning areas. We have Riyadul Jannah halaqas with our elder students, middle school and high school, where sensitive topics can be discussed openly. We have our Quran program, lifelong relation with the Quran. We have our story-based seerah. Allah is the best of storytellers. نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. So Allah is the best of story. But we've left storytelling, which Allah is the pedagogy of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the prophets. نَبِّ عِبَادِي أَنَّ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ أَنِّي أَنَّ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. So tell them the story of Musa, tell them the story of Maryam, right? Art and design, calligraphy, gives them balance and grace in their life, gives them more critical thinking. Poetry, that's sports education, life management, poetry. And I would have liked to share some of my poetry. After Iqbal, I think the second best poet in Pakistan. Okay, so if we'll do one poem together, I'm just going to ask Brother Abdullah if I can get a few minutes for this, because I want everyone to participate in this. If you could go to page 27. So this is about, what we've done is 5 salats and 5 careers, 5 people who help us. We call them Muslim helpers, right? And so our grade 2 children, they learn this poem, and how every career you do, salat is with you, right? So this is how the tune goes. And I'd like, once you pick up the tune, I'd like all of you to do it with me, okay? So say, Muslim helpers work with care, you will find them everywhere. Doctors, nurses, surgeons too, helping me and you. When we get up in the morning and we say our Fajr prayers, we grab our coat and stethoscope and hurry down the stairs. Every patient knows how much a Muslim doctor cares. 'Cause Allah loves those who serve humanity. Buy and sell, let's do business. Earning halal is truly blessed. Stay honest and trustworthy, in Jannah you will be. Praying Zohar in the market in the middle of the day. Returning to our businesses upon the Sunnah way. Everyone we deal with has the nicest words to say. 'Cause Allah loves those who serve humanity. So we do these 5 careers. One of them is a teacher, of course. And so the learning outcomes are right there in front of you. You don't have to. Another one, should go to page 29. Now this is a ballad. This is very tragic. It's very hurtful. And our children, as Franz Kafka said, what good is a book if it doesn't, it doesn't, it's like a pickaxe in the ice of your heart, right? It doesn't jolt you. It doesn't hurt you, right? It doesn't bring feelings. So, I mean, we have our grade 8 students read this and they start crying. I start crying when I read it. I wrote it. Huh? This is page 29. And it's basically about a wage worker, a laborer, who's sick, but he has to struggle. And this is a very common thing in our third world countries. Maybe other more well-to-do countries wouldn't really understand the pain behind this. And so we introduce a literary style, ballad, but with our values. So and by the end, it breaks your heart. Do read it. I'll give you the tune just so you can follow. He crumples the money in his blistered palm, his sweat putting more of a stain. Collecting his wages at the end of the day, he just couldn't handle the pain. They docked him 100 for taking a break. His kidneys hurt more every time. He looks longingly at the apples in the shop. Such joys aren't meant for his kind. Our apples are juicy, our apples are sweet. He's drawn to the fruit shop each day. But Zahra needs books and Farhan has no shoes. We'll have sweet apples someday. How many apples do we throw away today in breakfast?
We seem to have lost it because we've made our schools so one-dimensional, strict order, as if we're preaching Allah as only fire and brimstone. And, we're not preaching the love of Allah, the beauty of Allah, the compassion of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Once our schools can combine this, we will bring alive what I see here today. I think hearing you sing, hearing you doing the ballad in this garb breaks all stereotypes. And that is what we need to do, And I want to thank you immensely for a great presentation here this afternoon. May Allah give you barakah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you. This is our contact. This is our YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of useful videos over here. One area that I would like if you would individually come to me. We did The Lord of the Flies, Little Prince, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We take children's Western literature and we make it into faith tools that empower faith and our values. So The Lord of the Flies, for example, teaches us that without submission to a divine authority, civilization devolves into savagery. So we use that. So that's something, if you would like to come to our table, we can further discuss these things.